Welcome back to the Nordic Championship and the Monster Energy DreamHack Studios, and what we completely expect to be an absolute reverse sweep from Nyyrikki White here in the matchup against Ventus Esports. Now, what they're going to have to do to get that reverse sweep going, that's the question. We expect that to happen if we know Esports right. No, but seriously, we've had a very rough match for Nyyrikki so far. The two games that have been played have been they've been quite low against Ventus. Ventus have really found their momentum and stomped there because they've been able to play to their strong points. Now, Nyyrikki Gaming, I feel like we've been talking a little bit about what they should have changed, how they could have fixed their problems, but I think you mentioned earlier that they should really focus on playing to their strengths. So what are Nyyrikki's strengths and how can they play to them?
Can I just first say that I think you really hit the nail on the head there. I think that Ventus have been finding out, okay, we got a much stronger duo lane in the bottom side, just play around that. Nyyrikki need to realize that our solo lanes are pretty good. Like, top lane has been won, not hard, but like, Steamboss has been solid in the top lane. Yammer has been close to getting solo kills in mid. I think you need to play for a draft that plays around that, get Kenapil on a more aggressive early game jungle. He's been playing like Jarvan, Lee Sin, Sin Sour earlier on in the tournament, the more aggressive junglers, and then have lanes that he can gank in towards the top side of the map. I think that's the way that you can snowball, because if you put Sleeping behind, he can be completely invisible in these games.
Yeah, absolutely. I gotta agree with you there. I mean, the top lane has really been in a good position for Stenboss, and the mid lane Jamero almost picking up 2 solo kills in the mid lane, but nothing really happened on top of that, and that is a big problem for the team, that they can't make things happen with what is going right for them. Instead, we see Kenapil on the Ivern, that of course is a strong champion for him, but not really matching that playstyle that I want to play. We're going in with a carry type of jungler, or at least an initiating kind of jungler. So I feel that is definitely a big problem for Nyyrikki White. It was a big problem in Game 2. For Game 3, I want to see the ban on the Zillion, because that neglects so much of what they're doing well, getting these catches. And also, I want to see the ban on the Thresh or the Pick, just realizing how much this gives to Quickseth.
So with that as well, talking about the mid game, how do you stabilize that? Because they've been doing fairly well in game number 2, and they really started to pick up momentum there. And I think if they just get their team composition, their play style, and their team fights, and stabilize the mid game together, how can they change that?
I think they showed flashes of brilliance in game number 1. I think they showed that they had some really good team fighting going down. With this Sejuani pick, I really think that fits Kenapil's style as well. Being able to find the catches, actually be like staying ahead when it comes to those mid-game rotations. So game number 1, they showed some good prowess in the mid-game team fights. They just need to keep doing the same thing they did there.
Yeah, we're going to see what happens. I'm going to leave it to you, and you're going to get to take the drafts and see how they change it up for game number 3.
Yeah, and I really hope to see that they change things up right here, because what they've been doing so far hasn't really been working out for them. Of course, these are all very important bans, the Zoe especially, and Nico definitely, sure, with the Cartus, but I don't feel like they need to instantly ban these champions. They need to worry about what has been working right now. Nyyrikki White, on the other side now, have been opting to ban for the Thresh, of course, as I misplaced the besides Lee Sin ban and the Shen ban. I feel like I would not like to see something against this Zillion right here.
I'm so happy to see the Jarvan. That's what I've been looking for. Can also be a flex pick for Steamboss up the top lane, although I think that's going to go to Kenapil. But I just got an epiphany. If Quickseth and Crystalline just picks Lucian Braum here, they have a winning top lane that's going to be like smashing everyone early in the Jace. They would have a super hard winning bottom lane that can smash everything early there as well. With those really strong side lanes, though, you just need a safe mid laner that does not fall behind, and that's exactly what Corki is for Chris Cornet earlier on in the tournament. He's been really solid on this Corki, never really falling behind and always having great presence.
Both teams right now getting most what they want. They get the Galio in the hands of Tiara again. This time there is no Thresh there to stop him, and the Jarvan, as you say, for Kenapil. Now for Ventus Esports with Chris Cornet going with the Corki, they decide that they want to have another mage on the team, and Crystalline will go with this signature pick, the Veigar. Something that Nyyrikki White has said earlier, that they're prepared to play against this and they're not worried.
This is interesting. So if you're just tuning into the Nordic Championship and it's like, wait, why are they picking Veigar here? Crystalline is known as a Veigar player. He loves that champion in the bottom lane, together with a lot of the aggressive supports that can provide offensive CC. Something like an Alistar could come down here later on, perhaps with the Galio and Thresh being taken away. That can be so much kill pressure with this Veigar, so just look for them to play around that in the bottom lane. The safe mid laner as well. I think Ventus are just going to be perfectly fine with this team. Got bottom start like this for Nyyrikki. Because safe bottom lane, Galio and Ezreal, if you don't fall too far behind, you're going to be pretty safe right there. And then you have a Jarvan that can be flexed either top or jungle. You can play around those strengths. Really interested to see what Stenboss is going to be picking up in this top lane up against the Jace. Could be the Poppy here if I had to make a prediction. And then they're going to be giving Yamur the counter pick in mid to this Corki.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something that would not surprise me at all. We see now the Zed ban versus this composition, as the Corki is quite weak versus that kind of champion. On the other side, the Nidalee ban for Nyyrikki White. They still need to worry a little bit more about Made and his jungle champions, and champions like Sejuani is still open.
Yeah, for sure, could go for a more defensive jungle pick if he wants to go for more of that scaling, but it is getting banned away, so I'm expecting maybe to see him go towards the Olaf here, which has been banned earlier on, and it's something where you can just go into the enemy jungle, bully out that Jarvan. I mean, Jarvan is a good early game fighter, but in an extended 1v1, Olaf will win out on that. So if they really just want to be going for that sort of play, I think that Olaf could be a good pick for Majd here, being able to just get even stronger early on.
Absolutely. The Orianna is banned versus Jameru, not wanting to have the synergy together with the Jarvan and the heroic entry as well. But on the other side, we have another champion that has that AoE damage and slow scaling, the Vladimir Jameru, who did play that in game 1. And even though they lost that game, they fell behind a lot, especially from the bot lane. He did have some success in the team fights, even on that champion. Ventus Esports also going for another champion that they've been hinting a little bit. It's the Pike.
Ooh, that is spicy for Quixis. I do say I like this. Very aggressive kill lane with Veigar and Pyke, so they just need an aggressive jungler. Maybe not an invading one, but someone who can gank really well. And there is the Skarner coming in, so after level 6 with the Predator boots, that bottom lane is going to be insane. There is such a high amount of CC in this lane. A Galio, yeah, you're going to be tanky, but there is no way you're going to be getting out of this, buddy. There's Impale, there's everything from the Pyke, there's the Baby Cage from Veigar as well. And maybe the Poppy pick, which I predicted for Stenboss here, just to counter out that Jace in the top lane.
Absolutely. So the Poppy for the top lane, but this bot lane as well from level 6, you unlock Veigar's burst, you unlock Pyke's burst, and you have the Skarner to lock everyone down. You need to play so many wards and such deep wards to be able to handle the threat of a Skarner. There are no, well, there's only one Moon Mobility steroid on Ventus Esports now, and it's up in the top lane. So Majd will not have as easy as he did with the Zillion to get into position, just moving up. But there's another hook in the hands of Quickset, and we have seen what happens when Quickset is playing hook champions.
Especially into the immobile Galio, who can't do too much if you're taking a lot of pressure. You just have to rely on your own tankiness, because there's no way to get away from all of that CC that can come down. So really like this. Want to see Ventus play around that bottom side for sure, with Crystal on this Veigar and Quickset on the Pyke. On the rest of the map, I think that Nyyrikki has some decent opportunities to make things happen. Stenboss should be fine up in this matchup in the top side. I think Yamaru on the Vladimir, if he can get scaling, you saw him do great things in the team fights in game number 1, but the fear for them is that they're going to be falling too far behind in the bottom lane.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, again, a slow scaling team composition, something that has not worked out that well versus Ventus, as Ventus managed to get just a slight lead and then run away with the game. But if they can play this super safe, and that means they have to sacrifice so much in the bot lane, because the Galio, as you mentioned, there are so many ways you can catch a Galio and kill him with this bot lane, with the Veigar and the Pyke.
It's really interesting to hear that from the. It seems to me that Nyyrikki's now gone with champions they know very well, and a composition they know very well. The game is started, so I'm going to leave that over to you. But do you think that is going to play into their strength? Are they really focusing down on what they're good at right now?
Yeah, I gotta say that that's definitely the case. You're just a safe bottom lane that's gonna try to not take too much pressure from the kill lane of Ventus, and then snowballing on the rest of the map together with a really good team fighting. I mean, we've been talking a lot about the strengths of the team comp of Ventus, but if Nyyrikki are able to get out of the laning phase, able to get into the later stages, they have a as good, I think they've even got a better teamfight comp than they had in game number 1. You can see them even winning teamfights when they were 10k gold behind there. So if this game gets out of the laning phase without there being a big lead for Ventus, I think Nyyrikki are in a fine position here.
Absolutely, but there is a huge pressure on the shoulders of the players of Nyyrikki White. They are down 2-0 right now versus Ventus Esports. This could be the last game of the finals.
This could be it, and I think that if they would go out here, they definitely want to go out with style in this sort of team fights. They have a lot of nice engages with the Jarvan being able to engage from really far away. Then once that Cataclysm is up, that's a wall for Poppy to be able to use that that charge on to be able to get the stuns down, and then Tiara on this, Galio and Yamaru on this. Vladimir are going to be having so much teamfight AoE pressure, so it's just about down to Ventus if they can snowball bottom lane hard enough. And I think, if I'd have to make a prediction, I think they are going to be able to, just because how good players Kristen and Quickset are, but they definitely going to have to prove it here.
Yeah, absolutely. A good thing, though, for Nyyrikki White is that there's a lot of fairly secure damage on their team with AoE, with the Jarvan Cataclysm, with the True Shot Barrage, with the Keeper's Verdict, with the Hemo Plague, and there's quite a squishy team on the opposite side. Skarner doesn't get that tanky, so if the game progresses for long enough, if we see these kind of mistakes from Ventus Esports moving up into the later stages, it absolutely could turn around. But I am still expecting to see Ventus Esports be able to get something of the early game as they have been able to in game 1 and 2.
Yeah, speaking of early game here, Kenapil is going to be finding out Mashed, and with Kenapil actually running Hail of Blades on this Jarvan, he's going to be having some strong duelists. This is not a standard choice on the Jarvan, by the way. You often want that electrocute just for the extra burst, but in the extended fights, Hail of Blades is going to be the stronger choice. So really interested to see which lane Kenapil is going to be playing around in. With the mid lane having a lot of pressure for Yamaru, I think this could be a good choice if they can pressure Priest Cornet. Bad thing for them, though, is that Corki is just going to be staying so safe early on with the Valkyrie and even being able to get out of the Cataclysm. So could be somewhat difficult for Kenapil, but I think the solo lanes are definitely where he should go to.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something we've been asking for a lot. For this game, though, I'm expecting to see, like as you say, it's difficult to get any kill on Priest Cornet. Another hook landing on AZ2 this time, though, being able to jump out, forcing the fight for Quickset. Follow-up flash with the Ignite on him. Quickset going low with the Ignite ticking, and first blood for the bot lane. Kenapil arriving. The flash from Kriesland is going to dodge some of this damage, but one more Mystic Shot and one more auto attack. No, the auto attack is not used, and Kriesland gets the kill.
That was so extremely close. I thought Kriesland was going to be going down right there, but he survives, and that is a Veigar master right there. He's been playing so many games on this champion. He knows exactly what you're supposed to do, and that flash, which looked weird to dodge away from the Jarvan Flag and Drag, ended up working out really well for him, and what could have been a disaster for Ventus getting first blooded in the bottom lane is going to start to look like somewhat of an advantage, since you were able to get the kill on towards Kriesland, while the kill for Nyyrikki went over to Tiara.
Yeah, absolutely. Good thing for Isidro, though, was that he was able to buy his tier on top of that fight. So that is something at least that he's able to start stacking up. But Kriesland, we talk about this with the mage in the bot lane. Oh, the focus is on him again, but another time with the auto attack is delayed. Isidro gets the kill, but he goes down. Quickset is about to go as well, and Made not being able to get the kill. 1 versus 2 down here, or is he actually turning this around?
Oh, do they have the cooldown?
Taking so much damage. She's not in a good position with this. Gonna have to flash away. Now trying to chase down Kenapil. He has the boots. He was able to recall to get those, but no extra damage stats on this Skarner means he's not very strong at this point.
I'm so impressed by Isidore and Tiara so far on the Galio Ezreal duo lane. I was expecting them to just be hugging their tower, trying to not fall behind, trying to not get engaged on by Quickset, but with the help of Kenapil in the jungle, they've been able to just go toe-to-toe, fighting early on into the Veigar Pike, which is definitely a feat when you're playing this dual lane, and they have been rewarded. 600 gold leads so far for Nyyrikki. I think this is the first time in this series where they have a substantial gold advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. Now going for the invade, although Kenapil, or rather the reverse invade, I mean. Much is there with Kenapil being low. Want to try to steal this, but not looks like they're going to be able to. Another hook from Quickset. Means he doesn't have it. Smite Battle comes up. Kenapil is able to get it. Here comes Tiara again. Does not have his flash. Can't move up with this. It's going to be blocked here now by the Event Horizon. And Ventus Esports are just going to back out from this. Same goes for Nyyrikki White, but Nyyrikki White will be happy with this start.
So as the game seems to calm down a little bit, let's talk about AP versus AD itemization. Crystalline's going to be buying AP items, of course, on this Veigar, and AP items has the big quirk that it gives you a lot of stats in one item. So you usually get mana cooldown reduction, AP, and the on-hit damage from the Ludens as well in the same item. While Acitor is going to be having to build very different items to scale up and stack together on this Ezreal. He's also been going for tier into Cull, which is the hardest scaling build. A lot of Ezreals like to build the Sheen before the tier even, but he's just going to be scaling both in terms of stacking up the tier and getting the extra gold from the Cull. So the item choice for Acitor here shows that they don't want to be playing on the bottom lane, they don't want to be fighting right here, but the choice of pathing from Kenapil so far shows that they want to be playing around the bottom lane. So I'm not sure if this is the correct item decision for Kenapil, or for Acitor, or if it's just going to be Kenapil switching focus here and trying to put more focus on the solo lanes from that point on.
Absolutely. A couple of little bit weird items with this playstyle coming from this early aggression, and with Acitor having died with a little bit of weird gold situation both times that he died in those fights. And I think Crystalline is happy with this. He's up in CS and he's definitely up in battle stats on top of these items. So if this continues to be a long dragged out fight in the bot lane, it should definitely benefit the blue side of the map, Ventus Esports team.
And Kenapil is showing which build it's going to be for him so far. It's going to be the full tank one on this Jarvan the 4th. With the Cinderhulk getting picked up here, so I was sort of expecting Warrior, since you have the Hail of Blades, where you really want to be getting those extra auto attacks down. Instead, it's going to be the full tank choice, which I do like with this team composition. Yes, you only have 2 real damage dealers in the Ezreal and the Vladimir, sorry, but you know Yammer's Vladimir was so insanely strong in game number 1 that I don't think you necessarily need more damage from the jungle. So I gotta say I like this. Would like to see him get an early Knight's Vow and then put that onto Yamaru to give this Vladimir even more survivability early on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking a lot to see Yamaru pick this game up. And able to show why he is the strong player, why he's dubbed the strong player as he has been. But Yamaru has been able to sort of been consistently there in all of these games, but not been able to do that much with it. We see Kenapil again, that's a little bit of a glitch in the graphics. Kenapil has not been spotted yet down here. Now he's moving in with the flag and drag combo. Not going to be able to find anyone, although Crystalline, if he is caught, will need to use his flash, most definitely, to get out. And still holding into a good position of the lane, not be caught this time.
Both of these junglers really are level 6 junglers wanting to use that ultimate as soon as you unlock it to make things happen. And the Cataclysm is going to be extremely strong versus a lot of players in these team comp, actually, especially in the bottom lane where Crystalline has no way but the flash to get out of that ultimate. On the other side, Marsh has not been able to hit level 6 yet. It's going to be picking up the blue buff here and then look to make something happen with that Impale. And Yamaru, he is taking a lot of pressure from Priest Corner too, has all the sustain with the fleet footwork and the TP, being able to get the free recalls down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yamaru is struggling a bit in the mid lane, but here comes the gank. They're going to step on top of a ward though. Quickseth hooking Tiara. Quickseth only has level 5 right now. It's donated the XP to Crystalline, who is solo farming down bottom together with Acitor. But Yamaru, with that little roam, gets the opportunity that he wanted to deep push this lane. And now has time to get a little bit more farm and then get back.
This is interesting for Mosh. He's level 6 on this corner, which is where you really want to be making a play. And I talked so much about Mosh wanting to play around the bottom lane. Get Crystalline Quickseth snowballing, especially when there's an Infernal Dragon there as an extra objective that you can pick up if you get a couple kills. But instead, he's on the top side of the map and he's making his way down here. TP from Acitor coming in as well.
Tiara flashing in, but going low. No ultimate is going to be used just yet. Now, there it is. And gonna get it. Crystalline flashing out. Smush just now arriving to reset that fight. So 1 for 0 so far, and Dragon about half HP. Yamaru still wants to fight this though. Not sure if either of these teams really dare to go all in for this. Kenapil had used his ultimate, couldn't really go back in, but here comes Jamaru flashing forward, missing that combination just a little bit, and Priest Konet, though, even though he was going to die from that, using his stopwatch to stay alive.
Clutch stopwatch from Priest Konet there, but good positioning from Yamaru earlier on, actually being able to deny the Infernal Dragon there from the enemy team, so Mosh will need to come back there and use his Impale on a priority target. So really looking for this Skarner to do something, because he's 20 CS behind this Jarvan, which doesn't mean too much since he's been able to rubber band some of these camps and not being able to fall too far behind on experience. But still, as you're picking up your item here, I really want to be seeing Mosh making a play with the Impale towards the bottom side of the map, because this is where all the kill setup is. So much CC, so hard for anyone on Nyyrikki to get away from this.
I gotta say, as much as the Skarner pick made sense in Game 2, I don't really see it working in the same way here for this game, as he doesn't have any help with the movement speed, he doesn't have the help with the Lantern from the Thresh once he been able to catch someone, and he's going to be quite squishy versus this team, so it's going to be a very difficult position for Mush to really get into a range where he can impale a priority target. He needs to use his Flash and the Predator anytime he wants to go for that kind of play.
Yeah, but if he's able to make a play towards the bottom side, using all of those cooldowns, like if you Flash, ulti someone, able to get the kill there with Crystal and a quick set, I think you can reliably pick up the Infernal Dragon afterwards, which would be really good for this team comp. So still want to be seeing Mosh invest resources into making this bottom lane snowballing, because we talked about the team fighting later on. I don't think Nyyrikki necessarily outscales when it just comes to the individual champions, but when it comes to how these teams have been looking earlier and how well Nyyrikki has been playing this sort of team fight comps, I think if you're going to be getting to 25-30 minutes without falling too far behind in gold. Oh, this is what we talked about, the Mosh looking for a play.
Here comes the fight that you wanted. Quickset and Mosh moving in, getting the Impale onto Tiara, but Tiara being quite tanky. Here comes the true shot barrage, turning the fight around with the Cataclysm now moving in, and the heroic entry onto Kristen, who doesn't have his flash up. That is the kill that they wanted, but the fight is now turning around, focusing on Tiara. There's the kill, and Quickset picks up, and May just barely gets away.
Yeah, late TP from Stimbus and late rotation from Yamaru really is the key for Ventus to be able to win that fight 2-for-1 in the end. Early on it looked quite scary for him with Crystal getting bursted down. Quickset though, ooh, Flag and Drag just get Kenapil away.
Yeah, Quickset moving in, they didn't have enough damage to get the kill. Did have enough damage though to force the back up. Priest Konet is still fighting this versus Stenbussen. Stenbussen has quite a bit of damage here, noticing that Sleeping doesn't have any mana. He realizes that he can move forward, gonna force the flash from Priest Konet, but now it's Stenbussen who doesn't have the mana, and each auto attack from Sleeping is going to allow him to get a little bit more strength in this fight, finally forcing the flash from Stenbussen.
Yeah, that was actually really confident for Stenbussen. He's been playing with a lot of confidence this entire series, and now the Poppy going for the 1 versus 2 play right there. Didn't really end up working out, but still burning flash on Priest Konet means that the next Cataclysm that's going to be going down from Kenapil will be really scary for this Corki to deal with. We take a quick look at the tower platings. We can see that a lot of tower platings has been going down in favor of Ventus, which is a big source of this gold lead, especially in the top side. We have been praising Stenbosse, or maybe I've been praising Stenbosse so far, but this game he's been giving up 3 tower plates early on to the J, so really not making too many things happen here.
Yeah, a big difference here in the top lane matchup with the Poppy into the Jace. As Sleeping, as you mentioned, has gotten a lot of gold on top of this. All this gold lead for Ventus Esports, most of it comes from these turret platings. And they're up about 2k gold right now. Not enough to snowball on, but we have seen what happens when Ventus Esports edges ahead and they're looking for these team fights they can win the game on top of. You see Tiara there, he spotted Quickset, standing on top of the ward that Quickset's now put down, is going to back up.
So Predator, Impale and Package are all up for Mosh and Priest Konet here. I really want to see them make a play around this Infernal Dragon, try to secure this objective. It's so huge, and being able to force the fights early on when you've got a bit of a gold lead would be a really big thing for them. They, as I said, I don't think they can just let this game drag on forever up against this team comp of Nyyrikki, so I want to see Mosh and Priest Konet make something happen now that the package is there and all cooldowns are there for Mosh except for the flash.
Yeah, Nyyrikki is getting what they want right now. They are falling behind a little bit, but not as much as they have in previous games. And we talked about this, Nyyrikki being a strong team when it comes to these team fights. They have Jermeru, who is now scaling on this big Vladimir in the mid lane. They can just stall this out as much as possible right now. Although Acitor is now looking at his items. He's stacking up his Muramana, he's just finished his call, and he is actually becoming quite strong at this point.
Yeah, we talked about the item choices earlier on, and he's been able to make the scaling happen on this Ezreal, at least so far. Getting that early tier and the call has now cashed in on that ladder item and being able to get a lot of stacks on this tier as well. So I was really worried for Acitor and Tiara here, both because of the champion matchup and how they've been looking earlier on up against Kristen and Quickseth, but they've been impressing me for sure. Kenapil as well, really being in the right place at the right time. And with the scaling going down, I think Nyyrikki are, like, yes, they're 2.5k gold behind, but I don't think they're sad at all.
No, absolutely not. Even though they're behind, they're scaling, so they're not too worried. What is problem though for them is this top lane right now. This is losing HP quickly as Sleeping is trying to get this turret versus Stenbosse, who's just barely holding on with the grit of his teeth. And Sleeping going with the final push should get this turret down now. Although in the mid lane, the solo kill and the shutdown from all that farm and assist gold right now for Priest Kunet. The Jermeru again showing who's the boss in the mid lane, who's the finished faker, and now going for the Infernal Dragon, following up with another kill on Quickseth.
Wow, and Mosh is just playing so passive on this Skarner. We talked about the ability for him to make something happen right here, but instead it's him not doing anything. He's just farming up in his own jungle, and instead it's Kenapil, it's Tiara, and most of all, it's Yamaru being able to make these plays happen. Right now, Nyyrikki are starting to get a comeback with Infernal Dragon as well. I really like the position that they are in this game, and I even think you can start to look at putting Yamaru towards the side lane quite soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Jermeru is getting to the point where Vladimir is very difficult to handle. And Krislin right now on this Corki, or rather on this Veigar, I mean, he's farming up down here, but Acitor is happy with this. He just wants to play a farming lane. This is not a problem for him at all. Even though he's taking some damage on this turret, it's not a big issue for him.
Absolutely. Speaking a bit more about the item builds. Oh, hold on, as Quickseth is going in with the Ghost Water Dive. Can he make something happen here? He gets spotted out.
He tries, but good control here from Acitor, not going to allow himself to get caught again. Acitor and Tiara have been playing so much better this game.
Absolutely. They've been really holding on well towards this bottom side. Then we get a bit more time to speak towards the items, and yes, Sleeping was just the guy I was going to mention, because he's been going in a completely different direction compared to what Stenbosse did in this exact matchup last game. He's firstly been going for the Klepto, which is going to be giving him a lot more gold throughout the entire game and a bit of extra consumables as well, whereas Stenbosse went for the Airy on the Jace last game around. Also, Sleeping's been going for the pure split pushing build. This is a build where you're not going to be doing a lot of damage with the EQ combos, your accelerated shock blast, you can see right there, not doing as much as if you would have been stacking some lethality. Instead, you're going to be fighting Poppy in the 1 versus 1. You're going to be dealing with this tank with the Black Cleaver, shredding your armor, and with the Blade of the Rune King being able to get through the HP. So this is just what Sleeping wants to be doing here. Going side lane, going to duel 1v1 here. And great interrupt there.
Exactly, and in this long lane, Stenbosse don't really have anywhere to go. Flashing away now, Sleeping has lost quite a bit of damage. Not gonna hit that shock blast, but flashing forward. And Stenbosse going golden, waiting for Kenapil to arrive. He's just barely going to be able to hold on to his life and surviving in the extended 1 versus 2. Although Quickseth is not finished yet, going in again. Impale landing, but into the wrong direction as Stenbosse turn this around, going 1 for 1, and Kenapil having to flash away. Another good fight in the end for Nyyrikki White, or rather what looked like it was about to become a bad fight, somehow turning around, and now with the Rift Herald in the mid lane.
Yeah, this is going to be sort of a base race, going to be looking at each other's towers, and I was going to mention that it looked like Ventus had the advantage here, but then the Rift Herald comes down, and Herald does more damage to towers than any champion can do at this point in the game, so really got to say that this favors Nyyrikki being able to get the mid lane tower with that Herald. And yes, Sleeping is going to be getting a bunch of tower damage, or even getting the tower in towards the top side, but cracking open the mid lane tower with the Herald, that was so important for Nyyrikki. Even going to be getting a second charge here.
Absolutely very important, but also a little bit troubling for Stenbosse in the top lane. He needs to move now towards the bot lane, as he has nowhere to run anymore versus Sleeping in the top side. There is such a long lane, and Sleeping can chase him forever.
Yeah, Sleeping's just going for the full split pushing build. I was expecting him to start to go for some lethality here, but that is the Lord Dominic's regards getting pushed up. He's all about just bullying Stianbusa in this 1v1. And I mentioned the possibility for Yamaru to go into a side lane. I think if you're Nyyrikki, putting Vladimir in the 1v1 with Jace would mean that Vladimir has kill pressure on the Jace rather than the Jace having kill pressure on the Poppy if they put Stianbusa in that 1v1 duel. So I really want to see Nyyrikki think about these lane assignments, maybe even be putting Yamaru in the 1v1 duel with Sleeping, because there is no healing reduction on this Jace.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something that I would like to see, although Yamaru doesn't have teleport, though. So that is something that we need to take into consideration. Quickstep again in the mid lane, lands another hook on Yamaru. This time Yamaru is just going to run away from there, but running straight into Misht. And there's Krislund getting the kill as Yamaru is running the wrong direction. The taunt landing on Mushed. The flash forward by Quickstep is going to land the hook, but not getting any follow-up. Still a lot of damage onto this turret.
And that's not something that we see that often. Yamaru making a mistake in the individual play here on this champion. He's been praised by us and a lot of other people for being a really strong player overall, but that sort of mistake is going to be leading to a lot of mid lane tower damage. Might even take down the tower for Tiara here.
Yeah, Tiara taking a lot of damage. Quickstep still having his ultimate up. Means everyone needs to be very careful. There's a lot of burst potential even though you are a tanky Galio. Down for the bot lane, Stianbusa now being pushed in under the turret, just barely dodging away from Quickstep. Didn't plan that hook correctly. Infernal Dragon, though, is going to be taken, so that's Infernal on both sides right now.
Yeah, equalizing that count is going to be pretty important for them right here. The question is, what are Nyyrikki going to be looking for right here? Just holding on to your towers at this point, yeah, that's quite all right. But with a Baron having spawned, with quite a decent Baron taking team from Ventus, I think this is going to be, like, they're going to be using this objective to draw Nyyrikki out of their own base, to not allow them to hug their towers anymore. And if the Baron pressure starts to really cook up for Ventus, I'm not sure what Nyyrikki can do. I think they have to look for some sort of an engage or make a pick happen with a good teamfight comp that still got going for them.
Nyyrikki wants to make something happen or force something because Sleeping is winning completely versus Stianbusa. He's pushing up to the inhibitor turret now, taking it down to half HP almost immediately, and there needs to be a response here. But Nyyrikki not wanting to recall, not wanting to take that route, instead pushing in. There's a huge wave clear ability here in the mid lane, forcing the flash from Priest Gunnet though, and Canapil not being able to find any position where he can initiate on. Sleeping has been able to get so much damage off in the bot lane.
Yes. Sieging versus Veigar Corki, good luck with that. I think if you are Nyyrikki right now, you need to either like swap around the lane assignments, or you need to go with the 40 people and look for the tower dive. You even need to be that aggressive. Yes, you're behind in gold, but you can't just slowly lose the 1v1 with Stianbusa versus Sleeping and then look to siege into the immense wave clear of Veigar and Corki. I think you need to even look for the dives there if that's what's going on, or just change lane assignments, even get Yamaru into the 1v1 with Sleeping. Yes, he doesn't have TP, but he's not going to be losing it as hard as Stianbusa is.
Yeah, absolutely. This is an itemization that is just made for Sleeping to be able to handle Stianbusa, and there's no real response here from Nyyrikki White. They are trying to force fights in mid lane, not being able to. They're backing it up because they're taking too much poke and not being able to get anything with Krislund, just clearing those minion waves. So it's quite a bit of a conundrum for them, and I'd like to see here as Ventus Esports have been putting their eggs in a different basket this time around. For Game 1 and Game 2 was all about Krislund being that main carry. For this game, with all of the focus around bottom we've been talking about, it's instead Sleeping who's been able to get 4 turrets, I think, or 3 or 4 turrets on his own this game, simply from split pushing.
Yeah, I really like how they're utilizing the Jace this game around. You could see last time around that Nyyrikki grouped up a lot with the Jace, tried to get the poke down with the EQ combos and then use that acceleration gate to make the engages happen. But I think this is really a good way of using the Jace off into the side lane. And I gotta say that Sleeping. This guy is pretty good. I've been giving him a lot of criticism throughout the tournament, right? But right now he's playing well. Or did I just caster curse him?
Maybe there's a caster curse, but Quickset is around to help him. Here comes in. Sleeping, though, taking too much damage to survive it, and Quickset is not the one that you want to have trying to save your life in that position. So caster curse indeed. Fight in the mid lane. Impale on Tiara, but Tiara is quite tanky. Finally goes down, but Tenapil wants to have a little bit of this fight as well. Jamiru coming in, taking a lot of damage immediately. Now going back in with the Emo Plague, instantly flashing out. Kristen avoiding most of that damage. Now turning back in onto Stenbosa. Stenbosa has gone now. Trisha Barosh is going to deal some damage onto Mush, but they're still in this fight. Priestconet is the one that goes down. Kenapil still chasing down Mush, and Mush getting the slow off on him with the smite. Looks like he's going to get away.
Yeah, really nice right there, being able to survive there for Kristen. He's so slippery and hard to kill on this Veigar. Don't think you can start to set up the Baron here because there's TP on Sleeping. It's going to be up just in a couple of seconds. So Nyyrikki, they have to just be satisfied with getting some extra vision control around the Baron and pushing in a mid lane wave.
Absolutely. Jamiru was so low when that fight started as well. I thought that Jamiru would be able to get more out in that situation, but he's just fallen behind so much. A good play by Azitor. Now, though, taking too much damage from Sleeping. Sleeping has been taunted, but is there enough damage follow with the Ignite? It looks like it's going to be enough, but on the side, Quickset versus Jamiru. Quickset needs to back out of there, and now is mushed with the teleport coming in from Stenbosa, who needs to run away.
Wow, these fights are so close, Sang, and this is what we mentioned. Ventus has a lead, but Nyyrikki is a stronger team, fighting team. Could this be Baron?
They could absolutely start it at least, but do they have enough damage?
Kill the crab.
They want to have the crab. They don't dare to venture for it. Are they going to turn this around? Stenbosa is tanking it up. Instantly uses that fast presence, but I don't think they have enough damage for this Baron. Look at the HP. It takes forever for them to kill it, and they're going to take so much damage while they're doing it.
They're actually really tanky and have a lot of sustain here, so these are pretty much 4 tanks trying to take down this Baron. TP on Azitor is up right now. Do they go for the TP on the as well? Yes, it's there. And Kristen is running towards this Baron. He's not there. This is a 5v4 situation for Nyyrikki. This could be the risk of play that could settle the game.
Look at Mush on the side, looking for a flank. Now coming in again. They're going to start this fight. Flash forward with Tiara. Not going to hit anything with the taunt. Baron still up for grabs. It goes to Nyyrikki White. Ventus Esports, though, are going to lose one more before that fight is finished, and Tiara, being on the wrong side of everything, will be the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, that was really intense there. Nyyrikki, I'd say they have a goal, sorry, not a goldie, but I'd say they have the lead in this game with the Baron buff as well. This Baron buff definitely means more than the 2k gold that Ventus are ahead, and they've got a good scale and composition. So the only real question for them is how they're going to be dealing with Sleeping on this Jace, but I think they found a pretty good response there earlier on. Just throw down Azitor towards the bottom lane, try to kill him, because Sleeping is playing really aggressive on this champion, and you might think it's weird that they send the Ezreal down there, but it's not weird at all because he actually has the teleport. So I think that's a good way of dealing with Sleeping, abusing his extra aggressiveness here, and really looking forward to see what Nyyrikki can do with this Baron.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nyyrikki now has gotten everything that they need to make this game into theirs. They've been playing catch-up for the early 25 minutes of the game. Now the scaling is finally starting to pay off. Now they've gotten the Baron buff as well, making it more difficult to handle this minion wave, although there's still so much wave clear from Priestland and Priestconet that they have some issues pushing this in, and they can't really split push either without teleports on Azitor, with Jamiru not having teleport, and there goes Kenapil.
Ooh, getting caught up, that really hurts for them. 40 seconds on that Jarvan, and then it's going to be running up towards the map as well. That is going to be really unfortunate for them, and it's going to be eating up a lot of that Baron timer. So they're going to be able to get one tower here at least with Stenbosa. Maybe not even going to be getting that tower.
Auto attacks and minions are OP, but Mushed is here with the Impale, and Stenbosa does not have his Keeper's Verdict anymore. This is a sticky Skarner, but Azitor is here to help his friend in need.
That was a sad Impale, actually. Really not working out for him, and Stenbosa just runs away without a care in the world. And we spoke about the lack of frontline for Nyyrikki in last game. This game, that's a pretty big frontline. Going to be having Gargoyle Stone Plates on both Kenapil and Stenbosa here on these big tanks. Galio really working well as an off-tank in this comp as well, and Jamiru, he's going to be hard to kill on this Vladimir with all of these healing. And I can't really see any sort of healing reduction in the items for Ventus. Actually, there is none of that. Kristen did not elect to build into that Morellonomicon to counter out that Vladimir, instead went for the Rabadon's Death Cap. So Yamaru, he's going to be a huge teamfight presence, and this game is really going to be the big test to see if it is that Finnish faker that everybody's been speaking about.
Yeah, absolutely. This is up to Jamaru right now, because even though Azitor also, of course, is very strong, I really feel like Jamaru has been the one that has been forcing these fights into the right position. Stenbosse, though, has been caught in a bad position and caught between a rock and a hard place. It looks like he has nowhere to run with this. Those are the auto attacks, and that is the kill. Down in the bot lane, though, that was the tower that they got, but they have to recall now, not really using this Baron buff to its fullest potential, having 2 members getting caught out while trying to get objectives on top of this strong buff.
I said that the Baron buff was more worth than the 2k gold lead that Ventus had, but now Ventus has a 3k gold lead when Baron is over, so that, I think that means that Nyyrikki did something wrong.
I feel like Nyyrikki, yes, indeed, didn't really play that Baron the way it's supposed to be played. But on the other hand, Ventus really handling this well, handling this pressure, looking for these solo picks and finding them as Nyyrikki White are trying to grab a lot of different objectives at the same time. So this is a little bit of a problem for Nyyrikki, and I am wondering if this is the morale. I talked to the team earlier, and they said that, sure, they have this actually very strong support, and Selfway is really helping the team to stay focused, but he's not in the game right now. Tiara is in the game, and Selfway can just send them the strong energy from the side. And looking at this, I really feel like Nyyrikki White right now, they're a little bit stressed. They said earlier that their mentality is like a 3 out of 5. They are worried themselves falling behind like this. And I can say that it kind of shows. It is very difficult to play when you're down 0-2.
Look in the bottom lane. Sleeping is split pushing. He's committed really far up and does have some decent vision. Nyyrikki need to do something. I talked about the sieging into Corki Veigar. Not a great idea. They have to go for the dive.
Yeah, here comes the big dive as Mushed is going to be mushed under this turret. Or is he actually? He is quite tanky, but in the end gonna have to flash out. Turret, though, not as tanky as he is going to fall. Inhibitor for Inhibitor, but if this fight turns badly, that could be the game, because Sleeping is pushing in. They're gonna go for the base race. They're jumping forward into under the turret. Kristen has no mana to defend this with, and with all of these players here to defend, it's going to be very difficult for Sleeping to match this up. Here it comes, but the fight is now turning around. It's Mush going in together with Tiara in the front line, trying to tank up for Azitor, but Azitor going down. And that is it. They're going in for this. They're going to finish this. This is absolutely crazy. Look at Sleeping. He's so low on HP. That minion attack in the air is going to finish him off. That's the minion attack. He tries to run away from it, but you can't around the auto attack. Teleport still coming in, though. That's teleport, and he deals so much damage on this Corki, although he's going to be knocked up into the air. There's not enough damage from Kenapil. Does he have it, though? He's going with the auto attacks. He's using it. He's trying with his best he can, and the shutdown on Priskunet. Here goes Quickset as well.
A new challenger approaches.
It's crazy. Quickset is there. He gets the CC off. 2 more auto attacks on this Nexus. 3 more auto attacks, and that is it. He gets it. That's it. That is the win. Ventus Esports with the base race wins the Nordic Championship.
And what a way to end this game. Absolutely insane. I don't even know what to say, but that was just like Sleeping winning out in the 1v1 split push, just completely opening up the Nexus. Then I thought that if the TP would have come in immediately for Priscornet, they could have gone for it in the end. Got a bit closer than perhaps was needed, but you can see how happy and relieved they are.
I gotta apologize to everyone who listened to that cast right now with me just screaming on top of my lungs. Well, that was insane. I've never seen anything like that in the Nordic Championship. That was an absolutely crazy finish to a crazy series.
Yeah, and in the end, 3-0 for your champions right here, Ventus Esports. They definitely had to work hard for it, but in the end, just comes out slightly on top in Game 3.
Yeah, that was okay. I'm completely beaten. I haven't even casted this one. That's amazing. They look really relieved for good reason. I think that's the most feelingful stomp of a 3-0 we've had, or I've seen in a long, long time. But that was so close for Nyyrikki. They could have very well taken that game. It was really close with the last push, and if they could have just held that last Nexus bit, they would have had a really nice shot at taking this, right?
Yeah, I gotta say, they could have turned it around, at least been stalling it out for longer, which was what they needed. It's something that they were going for in a lot of these games, is going for the late game. But in the end, I feel like they just saw the opportunity. They decided that sleeping was down bot lane. We're just going to try to go for this with what we have. And for a second, it looked like they were almost able to do it.
Yeah, it must be feeling a little rough because they've been stabilizing throughout every game. They've really been able to try to figure out how Ventus has been working, and they've played to their strength more and more, as we stated, and they really nearly just made it. I think with that confidence boost, they could have really given them a run for money with an absolute possible reverse sweep, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Nyyrikki have been looking better and better. I think in game 1 they got pretty much stomped early on, and then in game 2 they were fighting on, but there was kind of still like a good victory for Ventus, and then this was really neck and neck, super close. You can see towards the end there where Chris Corner dying with the Nexus. Yeah, Nyyrikki looked better and better, and if this would have been a best of 7, who knows what would have happened, but it's a best out of 5, and Ventus are the champions.
Yep. We're going to see if we get a player from the winning team. I believe we're getting Chrislund, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome. You can come here next to me, next to Big Trophy. You don't get to touch it yet, but very soon. So, how are you feeling after that climactic ending?
Third game was a bit close, I would say, but I'm feeling great, and we were very confident going into the series, so we got the result we expected.
You seemed confident. We talked about that in early game. You played almost overconfidently, but I mean, that's easy to do with the 10K gold lead. But did it really feel like you were on top of that all the time? Did you know it was going to end like this? Or
the third game, no, but you know, I prepared myself mentally in solo queue, so it kind of felt like playing against transfers the first 2 games, but they picked up the third game, so kudos to them, but we were still the stronger team.
What do you think about their bot lane? Because obviously you're our your bot hero here, but what could they have changed up? They've still been doing really good down there, but you've managed to be able to turn it around every time anyway.
From my experience, or what I saw in the laning phase, they were super nervous, like last hitting, moving around, so we were just taking advantage of them, and it's not on them really, because maybe it's their first LAN, so it kind of takes off some nerves, but there was really nothing for them to do.
Yeah. Do you feel like the confidence is what they really need to be picking up on until next LAN?
Yeah, I think so, and you could also see it in third game. They really tried to camp us and shut us down, but we were still even throughout the game. But they should try to, like, if they see like a problem like Thresh in the first 2 games, they should remove it, at least after the first game, because they were getting hit by every hook and they just couldn't manage to handle us. Yeah.
So where was your pulse at in this last moments with the Nexus there? Was it intense, or did you feel like, no, we had this all the time?
I felt like we had it, but we messed up a lot. We never played Pike and Scrims really, so it was just like a pick we wanted to try because we were maybe too confident.
Yeah.
I think if I didn't get the one shot on the Vlad at the end, they probably have won this game and we would have been into game 4, but managed to clutch it out as per usual. So,
what would you think about a possible game 4? What would have happened there? Would you have had the same confidence, or do you think Nyyrikki could have started to change this around?
I think we would just be like taking it more seriously and like just back to business, like game 1 and 2, and probably just steamroll them.
Yeah. Really nice. You great confidence and great. You have great psychology for a team. Have you been working a lot about that? Have you talked about that?
Not really. We were just like this wasn't even supposed to be a team. Like we just were 5 guys that, or most of them were free agents. Yeah. And I didn't want to like travel out to a gaming house here in spring because I wanted to focus on something I have at home.
All right.
So I just made this kind of project on my own. Like I started with other players in like fall already to like make this team so we could qualify for Nordic. So it's been a long process, but we got what we expected.
Yeah, really cool. So you just found 5 very individually strong and also confident players. Is that it?
Yeah, and we saw that the Nordic region was super weak compared to like last split, where we had I was in the final and we had a super tough final against an IP, and I felt like last final we had like 10 players that were super strong, and this final it felt like there was only 5 players that were strong.
Okay, yeah. So what's the next step for you, working on your teamwork, or what are you trying to work on with the team to take it to the next level from the individual strengths?
Okay, so the thing we had going into this split is that we never really scrimped. The only scrims we had was the past 3 days. Like our Nordic games were basically our scrims, because that's why we had every game going to third game. So it just made us stronger, and that you could also see, like when we approached semi-final, we were just game on, 2-0 OFKs, even though we had 1 close game, and 3-0 this final. Like we just wanted to make a clear statement that we were the best team, no matter what.
And you've been clearly the best team. I'm going to leave it to the casters. Do you have any follow-up questions here?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, congratulations. I was really impressed, especially in Game 1 and 2. In Game 3, though, you were put on a completely different kind of champion. I know it's a pocket pick for you, the Veigar down towards the bot lane, something that you're really strong on. But on this team, would you say that this team usually gives you that much of a pressure, being the main carry for the team on champions like the Kai'Sa, for example, in Game 1 and such?
Yeah, I think this team puts a lot of responsibility on me, or at least that's what I feel like. If I play hyper carry, I'm expected to carry. Where you can see that our games, when I'm playing like something like Veigar or Six, the games tend to not like I don't take them over as like when I'm playing hyper carry. So you can definitely see our weakness in our team, like when I'm not playing on hyper carry.
Exactly, and that's my follow-up question, because Sleeping in this game took the reins instead and really was able to push down the lanes, was able to allow this to happen down towards the bot lane, as well as the rest of you held on. You got that great ultimate on Jamaru, but for the rest of it was Sleeping pushing in, making sure the Nexus got low enough, then for Priestcornet and then for Quickset to finish it off. So how much trust do you have on your teammates?
I feel like everyone can carry, especially our mid laner too. Like Sleeping has been slacking a bit the past like semi-final and shit, but he picked it up really in scrims as well. So, and it's not like he has a bad attitude when he's like falling behind. He's always like, he has this where he just tries to do his best no matter what the circumstances are, even if he's getting camp. And I feel like he's doing a good job.
Absolutely. So moving into the EU Masters now. What kind of strategy do you think you're going to have around it? Is this going to be the main thing for you, that everyone can carry, or you're going to focus even more on you for being that hyper carry?
I think we're trying, like now we get to like probably scrim more. Like we didn't scrim before Nordic, so we were just walking into games like blindfolded. Now we can like scrim more, practice more, find our identity, see what else works for us other than me on hyper carries or Pris on like Corki. So we just have to like find our own identity and then see how it goes for EU Masters.
Really cool. And I think, do you have a question?
I just have one question. I think Sang pretty much said it all, but I just got to ask. I know you as Pinoy. Why are you Kristlund now?
So Kristlund is very Danish, and I wanted to make it clear that Denmark...
A little closer.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to move this one. Thank you. Carry on, sorry.
Kristlund is a Danish name, like something of my first name and then my middle name. So I wanted to make it clear that Denmark is here. Denmark always wins. Denmark is the best region in the Nordic region, so that's why I chose the name specifically for this tournament.
So is that permanent now, or would you be switching back to Pinoy?
I'm considering it because I feel like Kristlund sounds better, personally, but back when I changed my name to Pinoy, it was like, I wanted to be like more international and represent the Filipino, but now I also want to represent Denmark and have my name there, so I'll figure it out.
You really threw me off. Like the first week, I was saying like, oh, Kristlund, he's going to be a sub for the team, and everyone's like flaming me. It's like, dude, that's Pinoy. I'm like, yeah, sorry. So that was intentional, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I had that name before I changed to Pinoy, so
I should have known that, right?
2014 spring when I played EUCS qualifiers or something like that.
That's on me. I should have known that. I should have known that.
You should have.
Now you know.
Maybe.
Yeah. Now I know. Now I know.
We'll never
definitely know. I'll never forget seeing you carry this tournament.
Yeah, this is the team and the players I think remember the name of possibly. Okay, so what's in the near future for you? Where can we see more Ventus right now?
I mean, we have EU Masters coming up in 1 month, I believe, roughly there. So we'll try to do our best there. Yeah. Last time we didn't do that well with Atlantis, but I feel like the format didn't really support us. So now we're just trying to be like super consistent and try to find our own identity for the tournament, so we walk in prepared.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. A lot of potential in the team, as you said, with trying to get some more identities and more screaming going. Yeah. But we've been talking a lot. I think we should bring the rest of the team up here, and you should be allowed to lift this great trophy. So come around with me. Congratulations, all of you. I'm from Finland, so I would have wanted to see the Finnish team winning. But obviously, you were the stronger ones, and I'm going to hand it to you. Congratulations, and very well played. A huge round of applause for these guys. Amazing. So, well, you can at least cheer a little, guys, here. It's a huge victory or a small victory for a new team. There you go.
There we go.
There is the battle cry. All right, perfect. Well, with that, I'm going to leave this to this team to figure out on their own how to celebrate their victory. And usually for esporters, it's just loading up for another scrim or whatever. It usually happens that way. But thank you very much, at least for to everyone who's been watching. It's been really nice to see what's happening with the Nordic teams here in Nordic Championship. And no Swedish team this time. Two Swedish teams the first time, one Swedish team the second time, and 0 Swedish teams this time. But then again, Denmark and Finland is really showing the prowess. So for all of the Nordic countries out there, keep practicing, and hopefully you'll stand here and you'll get your country to represent in the Nordic Championship and bring this home. We're going to see what happens next tournament. Thank you very much for watching the spring season. Bye.
Good job, guys. Congratulations.
Congratulations, guys.